is everything. I'll be the call of the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. So what's up, everybody? Whew, I'm just walking today. A little chilly out here. A little bit. Not too heavy. A little bit chilly. That's actually carrying a chair. Wow. Times is hard when you gotta carry a chair somewhere. Right? Okay, anyway. Okay, so here I am. Walking the streets once again. I was gonna catch the bus. I didn't see one yet. Hopefully it shows up. I don't know. I'm getting over my cold or whatever it was. Slowly but surely. Getting over it. I might just walk. I don't know yet. Downtown ain't that far. And walking is very good. I'm telling you. You guys might not believe this, but walking is a very good calorie burner. It's a great workout. Period. And so, here I be walking for the heck of it. Boom, boom, boom. That'd be a nice band to have. Fix it up, turn it to look a little cussy. Then you got a freaking Jaguar XJ8. That's what Ford took it over, made them ugly. Boy, Ford is dumb. Or maybe it was a bargain where they bought it for a favor or some sort. You know how business people work. There's always an angle, man. And the people do not benefit. Anyway, so here I am. Whoa. First time you see the doors open. I have one of those too. I remember that. Anyway, so here we go. This is the back alleys. This is the outskirts. This is where I live. Feels like a scene from one of the Rocky movies or, you know, Boston or what have you. Where you got all the warehouses. You got the outskirts, shabby houses, no grass, just rocks on the ground. Now I'm coming up to the Mission next too. Anyhow, the cold that I received is going away now. Look at that poor guy. Go out there and blow some leaves that aren't around. Anyway, there's an alley. You ever seen the alley before? But these are the warehouses. This is all the warehouses. And it's funny because these streets are named after trees. So you got oak, sycamore, tamarack. Tamarac's good to burn, like what I hear. When I used to cut wood for fire, make rounds and then quarter them up. Tamarack is a slow burning wood. So we always got fallen tamarack trees. You know, I don't know why my dad didn't sit there and collect wood to sell. He could have done that. You know, he had me there, give me some of the profits. Like, dude, I cord up thousands and thousands of wood and sell it. But he didn't have that concept. Poor guy. And it's funny because I got that concept. I do. Like, I got two older sons. One is, I believe, 32 and the other one's 35. And I didn't raise them. I wasn't around them at all. And their lives went to shambles. They both ended up in prison. It's not funny, but it's just, you know, and I wasn't around them. And I'll tell you the reason I wasn't around them is because I was in shambles. And I didn't want to do the roller coaster thing on them. I didn't. I didn't want to sit there and get good and then go bad and then get good and go bad. I didn't want to do that. I knew I wasn't. That's one thing I knew about me. I was a troublemaker. I knew that. My whole, if you will, mindset was troublemaking. I didn't give a damn. I despised authority big time. I found out why later on. Why I despised authority. It's not that I didn't want to listen, because in prison, I was a model prisoner. I mean, everything they told me to do, I did. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't drink Prudo. I didn't do all the little tiny crimes that people do in prison. I didn't do any of that. I did my time, walked the line, and got out. And if you're wondering how much time I did, I actually did. I did 5 years all in all. 5 years. And pardon me. And I'll tell you what I did it for. I used to break into businesses and steal their safes and their money. Terrible, right? Anyway, that's what I did time for. Years ago. This is probably 30 years ago, folks. 30 years ago. So that's quite a while. And I don't even remotely come close to anything like those elements anymore at all. But during the time that I did, I didn't give a damn. I really didn't. I didn't care. I didn't. So the reason I found out I couldn't stand authority was because my dad was an authority figure. And his word when I was a kid meant everything to me. But when I found out that he was horrible, I didn't favor authority anymore. His word meant nothing to me. I think I was 14 when I got that realization. And if you don't have guidance, what do you have? Well, you got the streets. So that's what I did. I basically ran the streets. And there's no rules on the streets. It's kill or be killed. Eat or get eaten. That's just the way it is. Take advantage, destroy. But I wasn't very good at it. Because no matter what I went through, I had a little heart. And I couldn't really, if you will, take advantage of people. I mean, I would, but then I feel bad. So I wasn't good at criminal stuff. Anyway, going back to this now. So, during my youthful years, I just stayed away and left the kids with their mom and just basically stayed away. Because I knew I was a messed up dude. Okay, later on, after I got out of the joint or prison, and I believe I was 2 years out, and I was, fixing my life up, then I went to go see them. And they wanted nothing to do with me. I gave everything that I had, And they didn't want, and I understood. I totally understood. I knew that would happen. I said, okay, these guys haven't been around me for a long time. They're not going to want to mess with me. So I was like, okay, never mind. You're good. And that was it. I gave it a few tries. They didn't want it. What could I do? So later on, excuse me, got that dang cold. They grew up. They ended up going to prison themselves. Poor guys. They're out now. They wanted me to send them stuff in prison, but I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't. You know what I mean? It was kind of funny, but myself, when I was in prison, I actually went and made art, wrote, did a lot of things, and made money that way. So I basically hustled for myself. I didn't ask anybody for it. I didn't have anybody outside anyway to give me anything, So that was that. Anyway, the reason I'm going back there is I had this idea with my older sons if they wanted to start a, because I can start a business out of anything. I'm telling you, I can do that. I found out that I have that ability. I did. I found out that I have that kind of charisma where I could grab people in and not make them do what I want them to do, but basically, you know, give them an idea and get them motivated. And so here, and it's funny because even people that hate me are motivated by me. For reals. It's so funny that way. People that hate me are motivated by me. They hate me so much that, I'll tell you why some people hate me. Because I'm not one for baloney. I'm not. I don't do the pussyfooting around. I don't do the, oh, give me good words and I'll feel good. I'm sorry, I don't do that. So when somebody shows their true face, I don't mess with them anymore. There's no reason to. You know? It's like getting bit by a dog once. I don't pet him again. I just don't. That's just me. You know? And so a lot of folks, and like I said, I don't play that. I don't play the two-face. I don't play the fake. I don't play any of that. You want to be fake? Well, there's a whole bunch of mannequins in a department store somewhere. Go and pose. You know? You want to play two-faced? Well, then get 2 bars of soap and start washing. I don't play that. Not that I'm, again, let me share this with you. Because those words seem condescending to some people. But I know I'm not better than anyone else. But I also know I'm not worse than anyone else. And I'll prove it right now. So one time I was at a speaking engagement in front of a bunch of people, mostly white. And there's a reason why I say that. It has nothing to do with race. But it has to do with the element of the crowd that I was speaking to. Because you got to know your crowd. If you don't know your crowd, you're not going to get anything across. You know what I mean? Okay. So, and I asked, I said, hey, does anybody know who Jeffrey Dahmer is? And of course, they knew. I said, interesting. Okay. So I'll tell you something about Jeffrey Dahmer. At least before he ate his victims, he had the decency to kill them so they didn't suffer. And this is what I told him. I said, Christians eat them while they're still alive. What do you think backbiting is? Ooh, they did not like that. They did not like that at all. At all. So here, that's the kind of speech I do. And like I said, it's not to say better than, worse than, any of that stuff. But I'm not big on that. I'm not big on that. You know? I met a girl one time. She wanted to hook up. I told her how I was. I said, this is how it is for me. Okay, I'm not trying to say meet my stipulations or do as I do or what have you. Okay? But I was just mentioning that. And of course she agreed. Okay, cool. So we hooked up a little bit. And she switched up. Boom. Okay, you lied to me. That means I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. There was nothing between us. There was nothing. So have a great life. And I walked on. That's about a month later. That woman actually came looking for me in an area. I moved, not because of her, but I just moved. You know, I have better job prospects in bigger cities, so I moved to a bigger city. And I was real young at the time. And this girl actually went and looked for me. Actually went and looked for me. Literally. And I said, who are you? You know me? I said, no, I don't. No, I don't. Can we please talk? Oh, okay. Let's go talk. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll share this with you guys. I'm not trying to be a a weirdo or anything, but I'll tell you, I'm a man, you know? And if a beautiful woman gets naked in front of me, I'll be tempted to hit, to tap, to touch, whatever you want to call it. Of course, because I'm a man. But I also understand the repercussions of actions. Okay? And I wasn't into that. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't been with a woman in quite some time. So when she came looking for me, I was tempted like you wouldn't believe. Big old breasts, you know, sweating, all that stuff. But I went outside, and even though I was tempted, I knew nothing was going to happen. And the reason I knew nothing was going to happen was the repercussions of actions, was the results of actions. So what did I do? I looked at her and I said, look, we had this conversation a long time ago. Well, why are you telling people you don't know me? I don't know you. If you lie to me, and I don't follow lies, I don't know what that is. So whoever it is you try to present yourself as wasn't that. So whoever this is, I don't know or don't want to know. So I thank you. Have a good day. And I walked off. She started bawling. But that's got nothing to do with me. You see what I'm saying? And it's not cold. It's not mean. It's the truth. Now let me show you what I mean. I want to put it in basic facts. I'm going to put it real simple for you. When you take a dump, when you use the bathroom, when you deposit feces or have a bowel movement, however you want to say those things so you don't feel so weird when I speak about this, do you look in the toilet and try to find where the potato was? Do you look at the toilet and try to find where the piece of steak was or the vegetable? No. You flush because it's gone. It's over. You don't reflect on that unless it was really big and it hurt your butt. Then of course you might reflect on it and go, dang, that was a big one. But until then, you're not going to do that. You let it go and you're not going to think about it because there's always going to be another turd down the road. I'm not trying to say people are turds. I'm not trying to say people are waste. But I'm going to say this. Don't waste your time in anything that doesn't meet up to what it is you expect. Now here's the thing. This is why we fall for a lot of things. Because we don't have what we want in ourselves. See, we can't get what we want until we live what it is we desire. Okay? Period. We can't. Because it'll never fit you. What do I mean by that? Watch this. If you're trying to impress others, you still haven't impressed yourself. If you're trying to, if you will, get to know others, you still didn't get to know yourself. Because once you know yourself, it's easy to know everyone else. And that's the truth. Okay, let me give you something. A lot of times, people try to figure out the human psyche. I'm going to give you humans real simple. You're not going to agree, and that's okay. But I'm going to give it to you, and you'll think about it. Okay, watch this. This is the human being psyche all in a nutshell. Give us money, we're happy. Take our money, we get mad. Anything that we hold value, you give it to us, oh, thank you. Take it away, we're upset. That's the basic of all mankind. Now, it's a little different with children. And I'll prove it to you right now. It's a little bit different with children. Watch this. Children are amazing. Okay? They're amazing. And I remember a time when I was at a building where I was asked to be the leader there, and I was. And it was an Easter coming up. So we did an Easter egg hunt. Okay, so you had a lot of kids there. They're there, and all the kids are there, and it's happening, and it's going on, and it's taking place. And all of a sudden, there was this one little girl, and she come up to me, and every other kid's baskets were full. And this poor little girl, she's probably 3. She looked up at me with a sad face. And I looked at her, and she probably had 3 or 4 pieces of candy in her little basket. And I called all the kids together. I go, uh-oh, look, kids. All you guys got overflowing baskets, and she doesn't hardly have any. Without me even telling them, each one of those kids took a handful out of their baskets and put it in hers. And her basket was overflowing, and they didn't even miss much. I had that experience as an adult. I remember I was having a Bible study one time. I was having a Bible study. And in the jail system, you find ways to try to eat more than what they give you because they give you crap. They don't care. They really don't care. And you might be telling yourself, well, why should they care? Holy cow, they actually boarded up this house. Somebody must have finally bought it then. Anyway, I remember I did a float for that city. And that's where the lady worked. I can't remember her name. Jenny, Penny, something like that. Anyway, so the commissary or store in the jail allowed you to buy refried beans dry and tortillas. And how the guys used to do it is they took a big plastic bag and they turn on the hot water, and they kept the hot water up because it was one of those kind of waters where you push and then it goes off after you let go a little bit. So they would take a shampoo bottle and they put it against one edge of the sink.
Wait.
And they push it right up against the button. And it would stay on, so it'd get really hot. So they have the beans, or whatever they put in there, mixed up in the bag. Water would be hitting it, and it would warm it up. And they do that with the tortillas too. So they have it in plastic so the tortillas don't get wet. So what happened? When they went and did that, I was having the Bible studies with the guys. One of the guards came in and literally dumped the beans, the mixture, and threw the tortillas in the trash. And said, you're not supposed to be doing that. Now what's funny is the group that knew we always had Bible study. Now this is what's really funny. The tank, and it was 75 guys in there. The tank or the crew that had the study, no fights would happen in there. Oh, and now here's what's really crazy, and it was right there. I'll show you the building right now. I'll go to the building. Give me a second here, and I'll show you exactly what the building looks like, where this happened. The old police station over there, the red brick building. I don't know if you can see it. The red brick building. That's the police station right there. This is where the council meets, mayor, all those guys. That's their building. Okay, now here's the jail. This is the jail right here. I always call it the big stomach. The big stomach. But that's where all the people who get in trouble go. I've been in there quite some time at one time or another. In my youthful days, I was in that bad boy. That's second floor. That's third floor. And that's fourth floor. Those are the smaller cells that people are in. So that's the jail. Now here's the place I was telling you about, where this occurred, the story I was telling you. This is, they call it the annex. This building right over here, as I'm coming past this tree, this flat big building right here. That's the annex. That is literally the annex. And I was having Bible studies in that building. Now you've got 7 different tanks in there. 75 guys each. Uh-oh. Hello, John Kimball. John Kimball, that's a dude from Kimball. That's a dude from Fugitive. And then Kimball, that's the dude from Who's Harry Crumb. Anyway, here's the tanks. Now, you notice they got a fence around it, and there's a reason for that. And there's the doors with a big thing across it so they can't break out, because they did one time. They literally grabbed one of those tables and they rammed it to the door. With 75 guys in there, you're able to do that. And they all ran away. But of course, now they fortified it. So you have to climb a fence if you get out. Anyhow, interesting, right? Anyway, so here's where I was having those Bible studies. And when the guard threw away all the food, there was a man in there who was from Africa. Straight up from Africa. And he was here illegally. So they arrested him. So don't tell me they didn't arrest illegals back then. Here's the thing, though. He left his country because of persecution. And if he would have went back, they would have killed him the minute he got off the plane. Because he was in opposition to whoever was being a tyrant to the people. So he escaped because they had a bounty on his head. So he was here. His name was Bonte. So Bonte was mad. And I'll tell you something about folks from different countries. They see death all the time. So death is nothing to them. And I'll say it straight. Not that they don't want to die. Of course they don't want to die. Of course they don't want to die. Nobody does. But Bonte was upset. And he was so upset. And I didn't say anything. I did not say anything. So Bonte was just, he was fuming. So there was about 8 of us in that Bible study group, and I said, just sit down, let's pray about it. And straight up, we prayed about it. And as our eyes are closed, all the inmates in that cell went to their bunks, got whatever food they had, not all of it, but shared. And while our eyes were closed, Mac Addict, property manager, home sweet home. For rent and lease, contact property manager, Senator McCormick. Okay, cool. Okay, so anyway, while they were, while our eyes were closed, and while we were praying, the inmates in that jail took a piece of food from their bunks and put it right in the middle of the table. So when we opened our eyes for praying, here was all this food that was 5 times more than what we had lost in the toilet. Then the guard came in and he apologized. And he said this to us. He said, I didn't know you guys were the Bible study group. I am so sorry I did that. I am so sorry I did that. Because he was brand new. And he was trying to, I guess you say, flex. And the other guard said, don't you know who those guys are? Those are the Bible study group guys. Don't mess with them. They're peaceful. They don't get in trouble. There's no fighting in that tank. It's always peaceful in there. You know, leave them alone. So the guy apologized. The guard actually apologized. Anyway, the best espresso martini in town, Mac Daddy. I gotta wait. You heard say wait. So anyway, it was funny because that showed me how, and again, I'll say it like this, and I'll prove it to ring true. Since it doesn't matter who you are on this planet. But no matter who you are on this planet, no matter what race, what gender, what age, nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'd like to have a bad day today. Nobody does that. Okay? Nobody. So we are all equal in that, to have a good day. Okay? Anyway, so Monty was crying after that. This murderous, if you will, African guy who was tough, crying. And he was shocked. He was like, oh my God, I prayed. I prayed and it happened. Yeah, it happened. And we didn't ask for that. We didn't ask. We just prayed and said, Lord, whatever. Anyway, so I've experienced that with children and with adults. Anyhow, so now I'm downtown Yakima. You guys know Yakima. I don't think you do, but this is downtown Yakima. There's the jail we passed. This used to be the Yakima Mall. They're supposed to be opening it again from what I hear. I don't know if they are or if they will, but they're supposed to be opening it again back into a mall. But those are lofts. I actually would like to live in one of those. I wouldn't mind it, that's for sure. Probably pricey as heck, but why not? Anyway, that used to be Lynn Paul's right there, where they sold clothes and whatnot. Okay. That's what they see, Lynn Paul's. They used to have breakdancing costumes in here, I remember. They moved out. Probably the family died, I don't know. Wow, for sale. Interesting. But we used to go there to check out the latest breakdancing fashions. Anyway, this is Yakima. Yeah, see Yakima Mall. The Yakima Mall. And that is supposed to be a representation of the fruit orchards and also the sun, because Yakima's always sunny. I don't know if you can see that right there. Let me get a close-up of it. See that? Now here's the thing. See this right here? We actually used to ride our bikes in there. I don't know why, but we did. We used to ride our bikes in that parking structure all the time. You know what I mean? And then you got the Yakima Herald Republic, which is the newspaper for Yakima. And you got a cop sitting over there, which is cool. And then Catholic Church, which burned down years ago. Years and years ago it burned down. I'm talking years ago. And they redid it. The old Catholic Church. But yeah, this is where we used to come as kids. Single Hill Brewing, I see that everywhere. They always have functionings there. I remember they had what do they call that? Cornhole. Anyhow, but this is Yaks. This is where I used to stomp ground here. It's where I used to come and play. Anyway, going back to this now. So let me say this. You see? We are all terrible. You're not going to like that, but I'm going to say it. And it's true. I remember a lady I was speaking to one time. She said, I'm not that bad. I said, really? She goes, no. I said, not at all. I said, okay, how about if there was a projector and we played your whole life in front of you? Well, I wouldn't want that to happen. I said, and let me share something with you guys, because we are the projector of our lives. We record everything that goes on. We can deny it, but it makes it show up even more. How do I know that? Okay, let me show you. If you put a patch over a hole on a pair of pants, what do you see? You see a patch. But what does that patch have? A hole. Hello. So it's amazing because the more you try to cover something, the more it shows. So for all of you that deny, go ahead. That's just adding more wood to the fire of the confession, if you will. You see? Anyway, going back to this now. Okay, so if we are as terrible as we are, what sticks out is if we try to do better. Okay, that's what sticks out. I'll show you what I mean. Here's a saying. Even a fool, when he shuts his mouth, is considered wise. From one act of being quiet, he's looked upon as wise. Think about that. So the simplicity of it all is that as terrible as we are, okay, as no good as we are. Now, I know. Don't get me wrong. Okay? Because I know people want to say, well, I'm not that bad. There's the denial again. But I want to say this. How do I know we're bad? Well, we all face the same judgment. What do I mean by that? The repercussions of a judgment. I'll go to the grave. Hello? There's no one that can deny that. However we go, doesn't matter. The fact is that we all do go to the grave. Period. Every single one of us. Okay? Now watch this. I'm going to show you how you're practicing for it right now. You're not going to like what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's true. Let's say you lived 100 years. Good, full life, whatever you want to call it. Did you know that for a third of that life, 33 years of a 100-year life, you slept a third of your life away? That's a lot. Hello? A third, I can't even say that. I'll just say the third you sleep. Now, think about this. You ever see anyone in a deep sleep? Think about it. I'm talking in a deep, deep sleep. REM sleep, rapid eye movement. You ever see anybody like that? Let's see. What am I doing? Oh, hello, Primo One. Oh, I'm on my way to Ross. They have specials all the time. So I'm going to see if I can snatch something up, if there's anything there special. If not, I'm just going for a walk, exercising. Ejercicio. That's what I'm doing, exercising. Okay, going back to this now. How you guys doing out there, my subscribers? How you all doing? The people that subscribed, I don't say mine because I don't own you, but the people that subscribe to me, how y'all doing today? Good to see you. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it much. Okay, going back to this now. So have you ever seen anyone in REM sleep? They're out. Deep sleep. If you stood a little bit away from them, it would look like they were dead. Yes or no? Yes. Hello. That's what I mean by when I say practicing for the cemetery. Hello. So for a third of your life, you're an expert at death. Doing nothing, saying nothing, just lying still. And you have no control over that. None. You have to do that. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? We never think of it that way, do we? Oh, of course, because you're an adult. I'm in control. I get to... No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm sorry, you don't. Now watch, I want to show you something. Because I remember a guy one time told me this. Here's what he said. He said, I shouldn't be thankful. Here's what he said. God ain't never done nothing for me. It was my response. Oh, well then you probably should go to another planet, make your own oxygen, and stop breathing his. He stopped short. He said, oh, I never thought of it that way. See what I'm saying? So if you can make your own oxygen, if you can control sleep and not sleep at all, and continue to live awake, yeah, you're in control of your life. Also, if you were the one that told your parents to make you, hello, your beginning, you wasn't even in control. Hello, prove me wrong. You did not tell your mom to meet your dad. Or did you? Now, if you did, you better write a book so I can read it. See how you did that. You didn't. Those two people met without your permission. Those two people had sexual intercourse without your permission. You were conceived without your permission. You were formed in the belly or in the womb without your permission. You were birthed. Hello, you get what I'm saying now? Your beginning, you didn't even have control over. Your ending, you don't have control over. You don't get to say when you leave. You don't get to say when you finally close your eyes and they stay closed forever. Unless you cut your eyelids off, then that's different. You don't. So watch this. If you don't have control in the beginning and you don't have control in the end, what makes you think you got control in the middle? Hello? Yeah, nice stop. See that? That dude did not stop. That dude did not stop. Some folks, right? Anyway, so that's the way it is. You get what I'm saying? No control in the beginning, no control in the ending. I'm sorry, but you don't have control in the middle either. Period. Okay, now I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be like in your face. But I'm going to tell you right now, folks, something straight up. There's so much junk you listen to. And take it as gospel truth. Take it as something that's solid. And it's not. It's not. Okay? So here's the thing. How come you don't investigate what you hear? How come you don't investigate and check it out? See what I'm saying? That means you're being controlled. Now watch, I want to show you something. It's going to blow your mind. If you're still listening, let me know. Give me a thumbs up or something. Watch this. Your eyes, there's two of them. Right? They take in information, do they not? Well, yeah. Your ears, there's two of them. They take in information. Hello? Your hands, there's two of them. They investigate information. Your feet, there's two of them. Now, if you only have one leg and only one arm, I apologize. I'm not trying to go against if you're hurt that way. But in all actuality, you should have two legs. You should have two arms. Not that you're less than because you don't. I'm not trying to get into all that. I'm just saying. They take you to the information. So let me say this. If your eyes, which are two of them, take in information, and your feet carry you to the information, there's two of them. If your ears take in information, there's two of them. And your eyes take in information, there's two of them. That's telling you you need to investigate before you propagate. Because there's only one output, and that's your mouth. Hello? So it's more important to check it out before you say anything. But see, here's the thing. You were groomed. You were formed into someone else. Not you yourself, someone else. I mean someone else telling you something. Because you can't trust you. Hello? That's the truth. You can't trust you. You think you can, but you can't. You know how many people, men or women, that I met, I don't know why I end up in bad relationships. Because you don't have a relationship with yourself. You don't know yourself. Period. And some of them have a thing where they go and they literally, anyway, I gotta stop pretty soon because I am here. This is where I used to work. This is where I work. This is where I found that sign I told you about where it said hiring. This is the worst place to work for on earth. They got good deals, but I'm telling you, this is the toilet, I hate to say it, but it's true, of TJ Maxx and all those other stores. This is their toilet. Anything that doesn't sell in those stores, they put it here and try to put a bargain on it when really it didn't sell. So this is the last resort. Okay, anyway. Oh, look, shoes on the ground. Boots on the ground. Anyway, so I'm gonna go in here. I can't have recordings in stores, but I'm gonna go in here. So I'm glad you listened today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. My subscribers, thank you for listening. Or excuse me, the people who subscribe to me, thank you for listening. I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great day. Bye.